Hello, welcome back to InSight. I'm Wendy Brokaw.
And I'm Mary Louise Van Natta.
For 45 years, there has been one artistic group bringing beautiful music to our community under different names, but now they call themselves the Salem Symphonic Winds. They have a wonderful concert season coming up, and here with us to talk about that and the history of this organization and why they changed their name, Artistic Director John Skelton. Hello,
John.
Thank you for joining us.
It's good to be with you.
Pretty darned exciting. Why the name change? What have you been before?
Well, we started as the Salem Wind Ensemble, and we were that for a few years, and then changed the name to Salem Concert Band because we thought more people knew what a concert band was. And then in recent years, we've been hearing from audience members who said, well, gosh, that wasn't really what we expected to hear. Because quite often there's a stereotypical kind of idea of what concert bands do. And we did an annual traditional concert in the style of the Sousa Band, which fit that very well. But much of the time, we are more expansive in what kind of music we explore. We bring in guest artists, and we do new literature of living composers that we think people will be excited to hear. We are starting our season with a concert featuring the music of Leonard Bernstein. And he was such a treasure in so many different types of music. And we're going to share different aspects of his writing, from music from his first symphony, music from his only film that he scored, On the Waterfront, and music from musicals, West Side Story specifically. And we have a fanfare of his that he wrote for the inauguration of John F. Kennedy. And we also have a very sweet, well, actually music from his operetta, Candide. So different slices of what he focused on as a composer. He was certainly a wonderful performer, conductor, teacher, but also an amazing composer. We also think that music expands our worlds. In fact, we're sort of labeling our 45th season as music to blow your mind. And we think that that idea of expanding our awareness of new music as well as revisiting some of our favorites of the classical tradition and of the traditional band music are all a big, important part of what we can do in the community.
Give me an example of some of the newer music.
Well, for example, in our second concert, we're going from very traditional music, the piano concerto of Edvard Grieg with a wonderful piano soloist, but we're going from that to a very little known piece that was probably one of the most profound pieces written for band in the 1980s. In fact, many consider it to be one of the more profound pieces of music in the latter part of the 20th century. And that's a work by a composer who was inspired by the writings of Carlos Castaneda about his work with the Indians of North Mexico and Southern America. Carlos Castaneda was an anthropologist who wanted to study shamanic practices in Native American culture. Well, out of his set of books came this wonderful band piece, this very unusual, different than anything you've ever heard, different writing than you've ever heard. And it goes from sort of mystical, magical writing to very humorous writing, and that both of the shamans he studied with had very wry senses of humor that comes out in this piece. So things like that we think audiences will be expanded by their contact with and enjoy exploring new worlds on the music stage.
Well, you also, from what I understand, are really helping people explore culture through music. Is that correct? And you did a recent concert, A Taste of Spain, is that correct?
Yes.
A Taste of Spain, yes, we covered that.
Yeah, you know, I had seen the performers of a group from Portland, Al Andaluz, that has wonderful flamenco guitar players. Their leader was an oud player. They work with Spanish dancers and singers that sing in several languages. They did a wonderful performance at the library. And Sandra Boscarson told me after that concert, you know, you should really find a way to work with them. And so we started talking, and as it turned out, they brought 2 flamenco dancers to dance with us. They had their wonderful singer, one of them, sang a couple of pieces with us and then do another one with the flamenco guitar player. And she joined us on a classical piece from Spain that was inspired by flamenco music. And and that was another new piece that people, I'm sure, had not heard. Frankly, that's doing literature that people may not be familiar with also keeps our performers' lives expanding as they discover new things and enjoy that exploration.
Why don't we show a little bit of video
Absolutely.
from that,
I want to see it.
from A Taste of Spain?
Let's take a look.
Take a look. Wonderful.
Wow.
Exciting.
Yeah.
From A Taste of Spain
A lot
earlier
of
this
energy.
year.
Now, tell us a little bit about you.
Yes.
What brought you to this place where you're now overseeing this magnificent group?
I taught music in the Dallas Public Schools for 31 years. And my first year there, I wanted to continue performing. There wasn't a group locally to perform it. So a friend and I drove to Eugene for a year. And we thought, well, that's kind of silly. And that there's a lot of other great musicians in the area that wanted a place to play. So several of us got together and invited friends and organized a band. And that was the Salem Wind Ensemble. John McManus drove from Eugene to conduct the first groups for about 5 years. Through all of that time, while I was teaching in Dallas, I also was conducting the Army Band in Portland, the 234th Army Band.
Okay.
So I was with them for about 35 years.
Oh, my.
Of my 38 years or so in the Army. But in about 1980, we had been through several different directors, and I took the stage more often. We had Keith Weathers do an annual In the Steps of Sousa concert for many years. He just retired from doing that last year. But so that's just a nutshell, and I've been enjoying finding new literature for the band and programming our seasons for the last few years, 25, 30, 40 years, something like that. I don't know.
That's great. If folks are watching in the audience or on YouTube and say, boy, I want to play, I want to be involved
Yes.
in some way or another, what kind of things can they do with your group and how would they find you?
We love to have new people come and join us, and so we have opportunities several times during the year that they can come and join us. And they can find out more about all of that on our website, which is www.salemsymphonicwinds.org.
Well, John Skelton, Artistic Director of Salem Symphonic Winds, this is ambitious.
Well, we have fun exploring new worlds and bringing those to our audiences.
Well, we'll have to keep having you back and telling us what you're doing and how it's going.
Very
Thank
good.
you. Thank you
Thank
so
you very
much for
much.
joining us today on InSight. And thank you for joining us. I'm Wendy Brokaw.
And I'm Mary Louise Van Atta, and we'll see you next time.